The morning cold bit harder than usual the day everything changed for Daniel Hayes, a poor single father who had long learned to live with life's harsh winds. Behind him, his small rented room still smelled faintly of last night's damp clothes, and ahead of him lay another day at the mechanic shop that barely paid enough to keep food on the table for his 8-year-old daughter. Yet, as he walked along the roadside before sunrise, he couldn't shake the heavy truth pressing on his chest. Today was the hearing that could decide whether he might lose custody of his child. And fate, almost cruelly, placed a stranded car on his path, a moment that would alter his future in ways he could never imagine. If you believe in kindness and second chances, make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. Your support truly helps stories like this reach more hearts. Daniel noticed the car before he heard the soft, panicked sound of someone trying to start an engine that simply wouldn't respond. He hesitated for a moment, glancing at the time on his old phone. Every minute mattered. But kindness was stitched into Daniel's nature, and whether life rewarded him for it or not, he couldn't walk past someone in need. So he stepped forward, wiping grease from his jacket sleeve, and approached the woman standing by the open car door. She looked like someone from another world, neatly dressed, carefully composed, yet visibly shaken. She explained her battery had died when she pulled over to take an important call. Daniel quickly offered help, though the wind was cold and his own day was already drowning in anxiety. He worked with quiet determination, hands moving with the calm expertise of someone who had repaired thousands of engines but rarely had his own life repaired by anyone. The woman thanked him repeatedly, almost startled by his selflessness. Daniel simply nodded, insisting he was happy to help. She asked if she could return the favor someday, but Daniel shook his head gently, explaining he had to hurry for a court hearing. When she asked if everything was all right, he simply smiled and said life was hard, but he tried his best for his little girl. Then he walked away, disappearing into the morning mist, unaware that she stood there watching him with a feeling she could not quite explain. Later that morning, Daniel rushed into the courthouse, breathless and still smelling faintly of engine oil. He straightened his collar and wiped his hands nervously, praying the judge would see the good in him, even though his ex-wife's lawyer painted him as unstable, financially unreliable, and incapable of raising a child alone. Daniel had never felt more small, more powerless, more painfully aware of how life often favored those with money and polished shoes. His heart pounded as the bailiff called the courtroom to order. And then, in a moment that stole the breath from his lungs, the judge walked in, the same woman he had helped on the roadside only hours earlier. For a split second, her eyes widened, recognizing him instantly. Something shifted in her expression, something subtle yet deeply human. But Daniel didn't dare interpret it. He stood silently, respectfully, hoping against hope that truth and kindness still had weight in this world. Judge Olivia Warren was known for being fair but firm, uncompromising when it came to protecting children's well-being. She studied the documents before her, listened carefully to the arguments, and kept her face unreadable. But inside, she replayed that morning, the man who helped without hesitation, who showed empathy despite carrying his own burdens, who had nothing yet still gave something meaningful. She realized he hadn't known who she was. He wasn't acting out of fear or manipulation. His kindness had been pure. The hearing stretched painfully for Daniel, who kept imagining his daughter's smile, feeling the terror of losing the only light left in his world. His ex-wife argued fiercely for full custody, citing his lack of money as proof of irresponsibility. But Judge Olivia could see something deeper, the way Daniel's eyes softened when he spoke about his daughter, the guilt in his posture, the way his calloused hands trembled with the weight of desperation. She requested a short recess, giving everyone time to breathe, but Daniel felt the walls closing in. Memories of all the nights his daughter slept on his chest when storms frightened her, all the mornings he skipped breakfast so she could have enough for school, all the days he walked miles to save on transport, flooded his mind. Everything he was, everything he had left, was tied to her. When the hearing resumed, the courtroom felt heavier, quieter, as Judge Olivia delivered her decision. She acknowledged Daniel's financial struggles but emphasized that poverty alone did not define parental love or capability. She noted his consistent efforts, his devotion, and the absence of any harmful behavior. She ruled that Daniel would retain shared custody and granted him additional support for parental resources. Her voice remained steady, but something warm flickered beneath her composed exterior as she looked at him, a silent message that she believed in him. Daniel felt an overwhelming surge of relief wash over him, his knees nearly buckling. He thanked the judge with sincerity shimmering in his eyes, unaware that she felt moved in a way she rarely allowed herself to be. After the hearing, Judge Olivia saw him waiting outside the building, standing under the weak sunlight as if trying to gather his scattered thoughts. She walked toward him, speaking not as a judge but as a person. She told him she admired how he handled life's burdens with dignity, and that the world needed more fathers like him. Daniel felt tears prick his eyes, something he rarely allowed himself to feel in front of others. She gave him a card, a contact for a nonprofit that supported single parents in rebuilding their lives. She even connected him with a mechanic shop owner who owed her a favor, helping him secure a better job. Daniel didn't know how to express gratitude deep enough for everything she was doing. For the first time in a long time, he felt hope stretching its timid wings. Life changed slowly but beautifully. Daniel found steadier income, a safer place to live, and a new sense of confidence that made his daughter's smile shine even brighter. Weeks later, he received a handwritten note from Judge Olivia, reminding him that sometimes the smallest acts of kindness create the most unexpected miracles. Daniel kept the note tucked in his wallet, reading it whenever the world felt too heavy. As time passed, he learned that goodness does return, though not always in the ways one expects. The help he offered that morning, something he thought was small and insignificant, became the turning point that reshaped his entire life. And viewers watching might feel the same silent message written between the lines: kindness knows the way, even when we don't.